Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And we are going to be talking about Trickdraw, and this is published by Good Games Publishing.
Have you ever thought that, cowboys were kind of boring? They needed a little more pizzazz, a little more, a little razzle-dazzle?
I've never thought that, but now I'm curious.
Yeah, well, guess what?
You've got me. I'm hooked.
Trickdraw brings razzle-dazzle cowboys in the form of these, sorcerer, magic, arcane kind of cowboys. This is basically a game where you're trying to get as many points as possible with using card play. And let me give you a quick overview of how to play. All right, so here's our setup for Trickdraw. Basically, we've just got a large deck of cards. We're going to shuffle that, and at the beginning of the game, every player is going to get 2 cards. Now, the setup's a little bit different for 2 players, but generally speaking, we're going to get 2 cards into our hand at the beginning of the game. Now, at the start of our turn, we're going to draw a card, and now we're going to look at our hand now, and we can play one of these cards. We can either play a card face down in front of us, in which case it's going to give us 1 point like it shows on the card. Or we can play in front of us to activate whatever's on top of the card. There's a lot of different effects that are going to be on these cards. So, for instance, we have things like once per turn abilities. This particular card says you can discard a card from your hand in order to play an additional card. Or maybe you can discard an additional card to draw an extra card. So you have things like that. So we also have cards that have ongoing effects. So this particular one says, this is ongoing, your cards have 1 less discard cost. So those once per turn costs that we just saw, this would be a discount of discarding cards. We have something like this rally card. This rally card says it's worth 1 point for each face-up rally card you have. So, for instance, if you had 2 of them, they'd both be worth 2 points each. If you had 3 of them, they'd be worth 3 points each. So you can kind of see how they get better and better the more you get out there. Then we also have cards like this that are based off of when they're revealed. This one says you can draw a card, and then you can swap your hand with the rival's hand. If you have a whole lot of, if your opponent has a whole lot of cards and you don't have very many, this might be a great way to get some cards and kind of mess up their strategies. This particular one says, on reveal, choose up to 3 of your face-up cards. You can flip them face down. Alright, so then we have all these different ways that we can either place a card face-up or place it face down. So you're going to have a situation like this. We're going to have a row of cards in front of you, some face-up, some face down. You're going to be manipulating your own tableau in front of you as well as your opponent's tableaus in front of them in order to try to get the most amount of points. Now, the game end is going to be triggered once one person is showing 10 points in front of them. And that can be from either face-down points or from cards like the Rally that has points on the front of them as well. They're going to finish their turn, and at the end of the turn, they're going to get a 2-point bonus of just 2 face-down cards from the deck. It's just kind of a bonus for them to show that they were the first ones out. But then every other player is going to get one last chance to try to beat them. So what's going to happen is they're going to either try to mess with the leader's score to try to make their score lower, or they're going to try to add some points to themselves. One really interesting thing is if there are ever any tied players, those tied players cancel each other out. So then the winner would go to the next highest after those tied players. So what you really want to do is you want to try to manipulate the board in whatever way you can so that you come out on top. So once that final round is ended, you're going to count up all the points in front of you, and whoever has the most amount of points wins. Now, there is one other way to win the game, and that is with these treasure cards. All right, so there's ongoing cards. This is the key, the treasure, and the temple. If you have 2 out of these 3 in front of you, you are going to be declared the winner immediately. So that is an alternative win condition that can happen. So if you ever see someone with one of those in front of them, you want to try to flip it down or swap it from them or whatever you can do to get it so they can't win the game immediately.
This game was super easy to learn and teach. You shuffle the cards, and you have cards. This is it, right? And you draw a card, and then you play one. Play it face up, face down. That's the game. That is the game. And the cards tell you exactly what to do and when to do it. Oh my gosh, so easy and so streamlined.
Bethany read the rulebook and she taught it to me, so that's how you know it's smooth sailing.
I always choose the really easy one.
Hey, I appreciate it. So this is a game there's different ways to score, right? The main way to score, I would say, is turning cards face down, just playing cards face down and getting the point that's on the back of them. But I also enjoyed how the other cards have other ways of scoring. You had cards that gave you scoring parameters for all different things, maybe a set collection of sorts, maybe if certain parameters are met. There's also a lot of interactivity. I'm playing stuff in front of me, but Bethany might play a card that swaps some things or flips some things or whatever the case is. So the card play was just very simple, very clever, and very clear, and it still made it for a a very simple scoring engine that also had multiple ways to get points.
Speaking of that, so like Ryan said, you place a card and you can go up or down or face up or face down, and sometimes it's like really difficult to make that choice because you overall you want to win. You want to get the most points. That is the game. But some cards it might be better if you place them face down and then towards the end of the game you can flip them face up and they give you extra abilities or extra ways to score, or there's those like one-time cards that you play them and now they're just out there, right? They're not doing you any good. So you need to flip them out. And you're not supposed to rearrange. So you can place things face up and face down and you can interact with other players' cards. And so you kind of want to memorize the order of their cards so you know which is a good one. You don't want to accidentally flip up one of their good cards that they're using a lot. You don't want that. You want to maybe flip down one of their once per turn cards that they're using all the time. And it's like really messing with you. But to make that choice, it's just that one action, right? Placing the card, but placing it face up and face down or which one, there's just like a lot more involved in making that choice than you would think there would be.
I really enjoyed the card art. I'm not a card art kind of person, but I just thought that the theme of this game was just so kind of different. I know something you don't see every day. These magical cowboys or whatever. So I thought that was cool. I thought that for a card game, it just worked really well. That being said, I do have one gripe. And this is a minor nitpick. It has nothing to do with the gameplay whatsoever. But this is a fairly, decent sized box. It's small-ish, but, it's still, it fits on the shelf well and all that stuff. All that's in here is some cards. Just some little bitty cards. The box could have been this big and thinner. That's all it is. That's all it is. And I understand there's a lot of reasons from a marketing standpoint of why you might want to make a box bigger and all that stuff. But this is the kind of game that we would love to take with us to one of our coffee dates or just play on while we're traveling or whatever. And it'd be a million times more likely to get played and put in the purse or the bag or the pocket or whatever if it's in a tuck box. And I know that's not going to sell as well, maybe, if people think that. But from a usability standpoint, I wish it would have done a lot smaller of a box. And it's a nitpick. That's not the gameplay. It's just me.
Overall, I thought this was a really simple and clean, just a really solid card game. One that you could definitely teach to people because I learned it. And that's how I know that you can teach it to people, because the game was taught to me by me. But yes, it's a very simple card game, and I thought it worked. It worked.
Yeah, I think this is the kind of game that you can show your family or your board game group, and they would both get a kick out of it. It works both ways. It's simple enough, but it's interesting enough, and it doesn't overstay its welcome, and it's fun.
Yeah. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. Until then, you can find us in all of these places.
You guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
You guys, thanks so much for watching. This game was provided to us by a publisher in exchange for a fair and honest review.
And if you want to see more stuff, check out over here to see something we think you might like.
And over here, we think that YouTube has picked out a great video for you you're going to love. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.